No one warns you that the greatest joy of your life might quietly become the greatest test of your relationship. Twins arrive not just as double blessings, but as double demands, stretching time, energy, patience, and love to their absolute limits. In the middle of sleepless nights, endless responsibilities, and a constant hum of survival mode, something subtle begins to fade: the connection between two people who once chose each other above everything else. This is not a story about failure, but about awareness. Because what many couples don't realize is that relationships rarely break in one dramatic moment. They slowly drift apart in silence. And if you don't actively protect what brought you together, you might wake up one day realizing you've become partners in parenting, but strangers in love. Becoming parents of twins is one of life's most intense and transformative experiences. It reshapes routines, priorities, and identities almost overnight, while the focus naturally shifts to caring for two fragile, dependent lives. The relationship between the parents often becomes an afterthought, something assumed to be strong enough to survive without attention. But the truth is, even the strongest relationships need care, especially under pressure. In this video, we'll explore the real emotional impact twins can have on a couple and, more importantly, practical and meaningful strategies to keep that connection alive. If you believe your relationship deserves to thrive, not just survive through this journey, stay with us until the end. And if this topic resonates with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. The arrival of twins transforms a couple's life with a force that few experiences can match, creating a new reality that demands immediate adaptation and relentless attention. What once felt manageable as individuals or even as partners suddenly becomes overwhelming when multiplied by two, and the emotional and physical load increases in ways that are difficult to predict. Sleep deprivation becomes constant, routines collapse, and personal space disappears, leaving little room for the subtle but essential acts of connection that once defined the relationship. In this environment, survival becomes the primary goal, and while both partners may be working tirelessly for the same purpose, they often begin to operate in parallel rather than together. The shift is gradual, almost invisible, but deeply impactful, as moments of intimacy are replaced by logistical conversations and shared exhaustion. As the days blend into nights and responsibilities pile up, communication between partners often becomes transactional, centered around tasks rather than emotions. Conversations shift from dreams and desires to feeding schedules, diaper changes, and who managed to sleep an extra hour. While this shift is natural, it carries a hidden cost, because emotional connection thrives on meaningful exchange, not just coordination. Without realizing it, couples begin to lose the habit of truly seeing and hearing each other. The person who once felt like a source of comfort and inspiration slowly becomes another part of the system that needs to function efficiently. This is not a failure of love, but a consequence of pressure, where energy is directed toward immediate needs, leaving little left for nurturing the relationship itself. One of the most challenging aspects of raising twins is the constant sense of urgency, where every moment feels like it must be optimized to keep everything under control. This urgency creates a mindset where anything not considered essential is postponed, and unfortunately, the relationship often falls into that category. Date nights are delayed indefinitely, small gestures are forgotten, and the emotional space that once allowed the relationship to breathe becomes increasingly restricted. Over time, this creates a subtle but growing distance, where both partners may feel unsupported or misunderstood, even if neither intends to create that feeling. The absence of intentional connection becomes more noticeable, and what was once a source of strength begins to feel fragile. Resentment can quietly emerge in this environment, not because of a lack of love, but because of unspoken expectations and perceived imbalances. One partner may feel they are carrying more of the burden, while the other may feel their efforts are unrecognized or undervalued. These feelings often remain unexpressed, either due to exhaustion or a desire to avoid conflict, but they do not disappear. Instead, they accumulate, creating emotional tension that can manifest in small irritations or growing frustration. Without open and honest communication, these underlying feelings can erode trust and connection, making it harder for the couple to function as a unified team. Another significant impact comes from the loss of identity that many parents experience after having twins. The transition into parenthood is profound, and when multiplied by 2, it can feel all-consuming. Individuals who once had clear roles, interests, and personal time may begin to feel defined solely by their responsibilities as parents. This loss of individuality can affect the relationship, as partners may struggle to recognize themselves and each other outside of the parenting role. When identity becomes blurred, connection becomes more difficult. Because the foundation of the relationship, two individuals choosing each other, feels distant and overshadowed by constant demands. Physical exhaustion plays a critical role in shaping the dynamics of a relationship after twins arrive. Lack of sleep affects mood, patience, and emotional regulation, making even small challenges feel overwhelming. In this state, partners may become more reactive, less empathetic, and quicker to misinterpret each other's intentions. What might have been a minor disagreement under normal circumstances can escalate into conflict simply because both individuals are operating beyond their limits. Understanding the impact of exhaustion is essential, as it allows couples to approach each other with more compassion and less judgment, recognizing that many conflicts are symptoms of fatigue rather than deeper issues. Maintaining a relationship in this context requires intentional effort, starting with the recognition that connection does not happen automatically. It must be created, protected, and prioritized, even in the smallest ways. This does not mean grand gestures or elaborate plans, but rather consistent, meaningful actions that reinforce the bond between partners. Simple moments of presence, such as making eye contact, expressing appreciation, or sharing a brief conversation without distractions, can have a powerful impact. These moments serve as reminders that the relationship still exists beyond the responsibilities, providing a sense of continuity and emotional grounding. Rebuilding communication is one of the most important strategies for keeping the relationship alive. This involves moving beyond purely functional conversations and creating space for emotional expression, even if it is limited. Asking simple questions about how the other person is feeling, listening without interruption, and validating their experience can restore a sense of connection that may have been lost. It is not about solving every problem, but about being present and engaged, showing that each partner's inner world still matters. Over time, these small efforts can rebuild trust and deepen understanding. Creating intentional time together, even in short intervals, can significantly strengthen the relationship. While extended date nights may not always be possible, small rituals can be introduced to maintain connection. This might include sharing a cup of coffee in the morning, watching a short show together, or taking a few minutes at the end of the day to reflect. The key is consistency, not duration, as these repeated moments create a sense of stability and closeness. They remind both partners that, despite the chaos, there is still space for them as a couple. Another essential strategy is the division of responsibilities in a way that feels fair and sustainable. While perfect balance may not always be achievable, open discussions about expectations and workloads can prevent feelings of resentment from building. When both partners feel that their contributions are recognized and valued, it creates a sense of partnership rather than competition. This shared responsibility strengthens the bond, reinforcing the idea that they are working together toward a common goal. Support systems play a crucial role in maintaining a healthy relationship after twins. Whether it is family, friends, or professional help, having external support can provide much-needed relief and allow couples to focus on their connection. Accepting help is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic decision that benefits both the parents and the relationship. It creates opportunities for rest, recovery, and reconnection, which are essential for long-term stability. Reconnecting physically is another important aspect that is often overlooked. Physical intimacy may change after the arrival of twins, influenced by exhaustion, stress, and shifting priorities. However, maintaining some form of physical connection, even simple gestures like holding hands or hugging, can reinforce emotional closeness. These small acts create a sense of safety and comfort, reminding both partners of their bond beyond the daily challenges. It is also important to acknowledge that the relationship will not be the same as it was before, and that is not necessarily a negative outcome. Change is inevitable, and growth often comes from adapting to new circumstances. By embracing this transformation, couples can redefine their relationship in a way that reflects their current reality, creating a new dynamic that incorporates both their roles as parents and as partners. Patience becomes a fundamental element in navigating this phase, as both partners are learning and adjusting in real time. Mistakes will happen, emotions will fluctuate, and progress may feel slow. Accepting this process without unrealistic expectations can reduce pressure and create a more supportive environment. When patience is combined with effort, it allows the relationship to evolve naturally rather than forcing it to conform to past standards. Gratitude is another powerful tool that can shift the perspective within a relationship. Acknowledging each other's efforts, even in small ways, can create a positive feedback loop that strengthens connection. When appreciation is expressed regularly, it reinforces a sense of value and respect, counteracting the negative effects of stress and fatigue. This simple practice can have a profound impact on the overall dynamic of the relationship. Maintaining individual well-being is equally important, as a healthy relationship depends on the well-being of both partners. Taking time for self-care, even in limited amounts, can improve mood, energy levels, and emotional resilience. When individuals feel more balanced, they are better equipped to contribute positively to the relationship, creating a stronger and more supportive partnership. Ultimately, keeping the relationship alive after twins requires a conscious decision to prioritize connection, even when it feels difficult or inconvenient. It is about recognizing that the relationship is not separate from the family, but a central part of it. By investing in the connection, couples create a foundation that supports not only their own well-being, but also the environment in which their children grow. The journey of raising twins is undeniably challenging, but it also offers an opportunity to deepen the relationship in ways that might not have been possible otherwise. Through shared experiences, mutual support, and intentional effort, couples can build a bond that is not only resilient, but profoundly meaningful. It is not about returning to what once was, but about creating something new that reflects the strengths and depth of their journey together. At the heart of it all, raising twins is not just a test of endurance, but a test of connection. It asks people to grow, adapt, and rediscover each other in the middle of chaos. The relationship may bend under pressure, but it does not have to break. With intention, patience, and small consistent efforts, love can evolve into something deeper, quieter, and more resilient. Because in the end, your children will not only learn from how you care for them, but from how you care for each other. And perhaps the greatest gift you can give them is not just stability, but the example of a relationship that chose to stay strong, even when it would have been easier to drift apart.